Fallout is back this week with the 4th episode of Season 2, and with the episode being titled Demon in the Snow, it was quite literally named after the demon that Cooper saw in the snow, which was the Deathclaw. The episode started with us seeing just how deadly and dangerous they could actually be, how much fear they could inflict into a fearless man like Cooper, and it concluded with us seeing him coming face to face with one many years later. As well as that, we also saw Max escaping with the cold fusion after a civil war broke out in Area 51, and it was also revealed that Steph was Canadian. Well, let's break down the ending of each of the main stories, and I'll also share what I thought of the episode. Here is Fallout Season 2 Episode 4 Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The Ghoul and Lucy. When it came to the Ghoul and Lucy, their story was relatively straightforward in this episode. They made it to the edge of Las Vegas, but we saw them doing it in a way that had Lucy suffering from withdrawals because of the medication that she was on to get back to full health after she was rescued from the Legion. This allowed us to see a completely different side to the character to what we've come to see over the first season and a half. What we saw with her was that instead of being the person that turned away from violence and didn't want to inflict harm onto anybody, instead she embraced it, was more confident, wielded a weapon, and didn't think twice about the harm that she was doing. She even said, "They're just ghouls." She was owning the damage that she was doing, and it showed just how much the substance that she took was altering her mind. This put her more on the moral side of the ghoul, and the fact that she got the kill before he even did showed just how similar they were in this instance. This is something that I think will be short-lived though, because with Lucy usually being the one that isn't really like that, it brings the humanity out in the ghoul and almost allows him to tap into the mindset that he used to have when he was Cooper. It brings out a softer side and the more human side within him. This entire interaction really showed how the Wasteland was impacting Lucy in a certain way and Lucy was impacting the ghoul in the complete opposite. During the opening scene, there was a flashback which connected to the title of the episode, and we saw that Cooper went against the orders that he was being told when he was a part of the Alaskan front. He told Charles to head back instead of press forward to look for the third raider. This in turn allowed Charles to not get in harm's way and avoided the ambush that Cooper ultimately ended up facing from the opposition soldiers. When he was being held at gunpoint, he saw the demon emerging from the snow, and the Deathclaw absolutely obliterated all of those that were in front of him, but it allowed Cooper to live. Over the comms, Cooper heard that the island had been secured and that the team did a great job, but Cooper said to himself that it wasn't us. This was something that really highlighted the fear that he had within him, because that meant that the Deathclaw inflicted a severe amount of damage onto the opposition that it was far greater than an army. So he was scared at the damage that this demon could do, especially after seeing it up close and having a first-hand experience with it. With the ending of the episode seeing Lucy and the ghoul inside of Vegas, and the ghoul sensing that radiation was present, and Lucy finding a gigantic egg, the episode ultimately went full circle and brought us right back to meeting with the Deathclaw all over again. Even though Cooper looks extremely different to what he used to, the fear that he had when he was lying on the floor in his suit all of those years ago was something that was instantly recognizable when he laid eyes on the Deathclaw in the present day. If he's scared, you definitely know something's wrong. Maximus and the Brotherhood. Maximus is an interesting character because he's morally conflicted no matter what he does. He killed Xander because he was going to wipe out the young ghouls that were in front of him, but in the same breath he couldn't kill Quintus despite the fact that he was quite happy to kill him because he didn't view the ghouls as abominations. Max got Thaddeus to pose following him being killed at the end of the previous episode because he wanted to prevent an all-out war from occurring, and to be fair, Thaddeus' cover wasn't blown despite the fact that it was on the cusp of blowing up when he was having a panic attack. The three elders from different factions of the Brotherhood all ended up turning on each other, which sparked a shootout within the cafeteria, and for a civil war to quite literally begin. This is all because of Maximus' actions. It ties back to that point that Cooper made in the previous episode, where decisions that get made might cause some damage, but it might turn out to be the right thing for the greater good. Max always wanted to impress Quintus as he was that father figure to him following his father dying all of those years ago. But with Quintus saying that he should never have shown mercy to Maximus when he saved him from a destroyed Shady Sands, it showed that the relationship was no longer what it once was. Max said quite a powerful line in this episode, which was, "I don't choose to do the things I do, they just keep happening." This is a perfect example of a man that's been molded into being one thing, a sword, but the moral values that his father instilled within him when he was younger continuing to rise to the surface and outweigh the environmental factors of his current life and the beliefs that Quintus taught him. Maximus is a good man at his core, and with the cold fusion being given to him, which is going to make the Brotherhood significantly weaker, he and Thaddeus are going to go off on their own now. Norm. A part of the story that I thought was particularly interesting was when Norm and the defrosted Vault-Tec employees were outside munching away on food, and Ronnie, who was Bud's personal assistant, said how Phase 2 was very important to the experiment. He then went on and asked if they should start the process of beginning it. Norm obviously doesn't know what Phase 2 is, and neither do we, but with it being connected to Vault 32 and Vault 33 and it seeming like division is forming between them naturally, I can see it being something that ends up leaning into that. This small inclusion was all about laying down the foundations for the second half of the season, and I thought it worked quite well because it got me intrigued. Vault 32 and 33. Steph and Betty were at loggerheads in this episode, and the selfish nature of Steph was rising to the surface. Reg was just chilling and hanging out with his inbred community and wasting the water supply, whilst Betty was worrying about how the vault was going to have enough water to enable them to survive. We heard through the comms that the ration rule needed to be followed strictly because there wasn't enough water for everybody, and that was what led Betty to meet Steph in the intervault chamber. This is where Woody's confusion about not knowing his left from right was made a focus, and it got its result because he ultimately stumbled across Steph and Betty speaking, where Steph said how the experiment was over and that nobody was coming to save them. All Steph wanted to do was allow her vault to survive. Betty is the overseer that's focused on community and togetherness and thriving together, but Steph has the opposite mindset where it seems like she doesn't care if the other vault falls if her one ends up surviving. Steph did say that she would help Betty and her vault with their water supply issues only if Betty brought her a box that was seen to be a keepsake box from before the war that Hank brought with him to Vault 31. So again, it showed that she wasn't prepared to help out of the kindness of her heart. When Woody went to tell Steph that he felt she violated the Vault-Tec handbook, that was where Chet went through Steph's things and found her ID, which showed that she was in fact Canadian. This is something that could potentially throw a spanner in the works, so I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen with that. My review of the episode. I thought this was an okay episode of the season. I don't think it was the best, as I think the first 3 were better, but this marked the halfway point in a way which laid down the foundations for the remainder of the season. We've still got 4 episodes to go and there's still so much to understand. I think my biggest issue with this episode was that it just felt a little bit choppy and there just felt like there was a lot of travelling involved. Last week there was a core message at the heart of it, but with this episode I just didn't quite get that. The story with the Brotherhood was probably my favourite from this week. The sheer panic that Thaddeus had when he was approached not only felt immersive because of the close-up shot inside of the helmet, but the tension was building and building, and it really did feel like he was going to blow his cover. So it did surprise me when he didn't. I also find the conflict in Max's mind being something that feels understandable. He's a boy that was raised one way and then found, rescued and moulded into a completely different person. So the confusion that he has just makes complete sense, and I enjoy seeing which side of the moral fence he falls on most of the time. I thought Lucy and the Ghouls arc was a bit of a shame this week. Usually they're my favourite part of the show, but I found their story to be a bit weak and almost like filler. The flashback that we had with Cooper was enjoyable to watch though. It teased the Deathclaw in a way which made it feel like it was always going to arrive later on in the episode, but it also showed just how dangerous they could be. As much as I am enjoying Season 2 of the show, I don't know if I'm preferring it to Season 1. I kind of like the way that all of the episodes just dropped at once last time. I felt a bit more immersed within the show and like I could ride the wave just a bit more. I don't know why, but I've not quite been able to get into this season as much as I did the last one, and I also don't feel like there have been as many standout moments this time round. I remember the opening scene of episode 1, it was incredible. It's still a great show and I am enjoying it, I just feel like right now at the halfway mark of season 2, I was preferring the first season. With 4 episodes to go, that could quite easily change though, so I guess time will tell. So, there you have it, Fallout Season 2 Episode 4 Ending Explained. If you want to see more videos on Fallout Season 2, then check the playlist below, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future videos. What did you think of this episode? Share your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for tuning into the video and I'll see you in the next one.